You're listening to the Uprise Astrology Podcast, a podcast that inspires the present-day visionary to rise to their best life. My name is Island Sky, and I'm an astrologer and numerologist. I'm best known for cutting right through the noise and bringing the most important messages to you. Welcome back to Uprise Astrology Podcast. Everyone, we are going to be taking a look at the November forecast for all of my Taurus and Taurus rising friends. So we are going to be covering every single week and what are the most important things to pay attention to when it comes to the astrology, when it comes to the aspects. So we're going to dive right in. First, thing that is coming in at high intensity is a fixed T square, which is going to be happening amongst your relationship house, your career, and yourself, and how that impacts you. So this is going to be a lot of pressure to figure out where you're at when it comes to kind of figuring out issues or challenges on how you show up for yourself, how relationship dynamics tie into it, and then also your career as a result, what the impacts of that are. I think for many of you, you are going to be discovering here that there might be either one scenario where you're taking a look at vitality stuff, your health, how you want to continue for the long term, and how you want to divide your time for the long term between your career and your relationship. And then the second thing that I see for many of you, if it's not in regards to how you spend your time, many of you are going to start to pay attention now the first week through challenges or things that are coming up where you can't quite avoid relationship dynamics anymore, because you might start to realize that your loyalty is going into directions with relationships that make no longer sense or did not make any sense in the past, and they impacted you. And now you are in this place where you have to make some solid decisions on how you want to move forward. A lot of this gets backed up by you having clarity in your mind about what has happened up until this point, putting the puzzle pieces together, especially if you're dealing with relationship dynamics at this time. November 7th is going to be that kind of kickstart for you when the Sun and Mercury are going to be in a Cazimi in your 7th house, where you start to realize, okay, now I'm very crystal clear about my needs within relationships, what my boundaries need to be, and where I have lacked kind of boundaries, where I have lacked even just trusting someone on the wrong kind of basis. I don't want to say wrong actually, because I think a lot of you maybe have not intended, or that relationship dynamic didn't give anything in the sense that you couldn't trust it. But especially if it was for business, if it was in regards to business, someone that you trusted, that you shared a lot of your talent with, you start to realize now what actually needs to happen in order for you to not fall into this kind of a situation or scenario where someone takes advantage, and you have to work out maybe some administrative stuff, some things where you protect your business a little bit more, where you start to realize that, I have to be a little bit different with my approach, because whenever we have a Sun Mercury Cazimi, this is a rapid fire conversation inside of your head. The light bulb goes off. There is a direct issue that you're able to deal with, and you're also able to just initiate important conversations that are necessary. At 14 degrees, this is when you start to make sense out of a situation. Now, November 8th, we're coming into that full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. It's going to be in your sign at 16 degrees. This particular full moon, it comes with quite a bit of baggage. It comes actually with quite a bit of sort of this message behind this full moon is we have to deal with things. We have to expose certain aspects. And for you, this will have to do with your relationships again, with business partnerships even, or some kind of bonds that you have to other people, where there is an issue that needs to get maybe exaggerated so that you can actually deal with this. There's a lot of pressure on relationships right now and how they actually impact you and how you move forward. This is going to be a big time for you to free yourself from past patterns, no matter what has happened, right? No matter how much you feel that things have gone in a direction that you did not like for them to go this way, this particular full moon in Taurus has really the potential for you to bounce back and to bring a sense of endurance back to yourself, first and foremost, by you just identifying what situations were creating crisis through relationships, or what situations were even demoralizing at some level. And so this is a defining moment on how you're going to be moving forward. And of course, Uranus is in the mix with this full moon lunar eclipse. So there's a lot here that you're going to be able to sort out, and expect the unexpected. Expect to maybe not count on certain people right now, especially. And even when it comes to your career, right, there might even be more pivot points. But a lot of this is going to start to come up as you begin to realize Mercury is going to be in this opposition here to Uranus, which is also going to be happening once again between your first house and your seventh house. This is when you're going to start to realize what you can count on, what you can't count on. This is a pretty scattered energy. On this day, you might also realize that there is actually some things that come up that you're saying now that you did not realize that you would say. You may have to confront this issue now, and you realize also, okay, well, I have to deal with this. And there's a quick sort of, we have to deal with this energy, and we have to say things that might even hurt somebody else, but you can't right now with this energy really care about how it's going to impact the other person, because during this time and during this week, you might realize that your day to day is continuously changing, and you need to sort of move forward in a new fashion. And that's what this energy is really good for. Now, there is some hope that starts to return because of all the things that are happening, all the intensity that is unfolding. There is some hope that is returning at the same time. The astrology never lets us down. November 10th through the 15th, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus are going to be trining Neptune. All of this is going to happen from your relationship house all the way over to the group dynamics that you are a part of right now. There is some higher meaning or something of meaning that is returning. And you are maybe even meeting some people or new people right now. You realize that these connections are starting to come into your life. Or at the very basic level, you start to realize that the more that you focus on your relationships right now, the more your actual friend circle or your social reputation is starting to change for the better. And you may even come out with a story publicly. Some of you might even come out with a story publicly that you didn't realize that you needed to kind of speak up about this, so that you could restore some sense of respect back. It also impacts your business in the long term and your money. And this creates a new kind of endurance for a lot of you. So there's sort of this, I have to come into a new sort of field with my life, and I can't hold on to the past. And this is sort of the message that I'm seeing between the Sun, Mercury, Venus conjunction trining over to Neptune at 22. This is a big shift in relationship dynamics, because 22 has a lot to do with relationships. Now, the conversation to then sort of unfold in a new direction. Venus and Mercury start to come together even more tighter, and they trine to Jupiter at 28, which is going to be in your group house, the public reputation house, the social reputation house, and the house where your friends and the dynamics of groups matter. And so there is an expansion here. There is new people or new conversations that start to come up that are going to be meaningful, that are going to be really a lot of fun that kind of comes back, kind of the kind of fun that you had not tapped into, which is really nice. And it's also a time where you could be also a part of some kind of, gathering, right? Where you might be going to some kind of festival or something where you realize, you have to kind of let yourself enjoy life a little bit. And you can lean into some people at this time that are around you. This is a productive energy with relationships. This is a let's go and appreciate life type of energy. And so this is a much needed energy that starts to come in. But there are some beautiful new conversations that are starting to inspire you here for this time. Moving on to the 16th and 17th, what happens is that some of the attention starts to move from your seventh house and drops into your eighth house. So relationships now start to kind of get sorted out. Things are starting to move on forward with relationship dynamics. And so here, Venus and Mercury start to ingress into Sagittarius, into your eighth house. This is when you will start to focus on the things that are happening behind the scenes in your commitments and even money and investments of money. We will talk a little bit more about that in the upcoming reports. And then there is this gnarly energy that we're going to revisit. And I've talked about this in the other report in October. Mars and Neptune came together into a square. And when Mars and Neptune come into a square, we are looking at sort of this couple of different things. But the first thing I want to kind of say about this is there's some kind of an issue here that comes up where you begin to realize, I thought this was, going away, and it's not. It's back in the picture. And so you begin to realize that, okay, this issue is coming back. There is a reason why it's coming back. You kind of have to deal with this. And whatever this issue is, there could be themes of deceit. There could be themes of addiction. There could be themes of, caution around attachments that have to do either, it could have to do with drugs. It could have to do with alcohol. It could have to do with these types of energies where those types of substances are abused or somebody else is kind of in the picture that is doing that. Or at the very basic level, this is doubt and kind of a low energy, kind of having a hard time getting up and getting going. And they are revisiting each other at 22. Now, this time, though, what is different about October, because Mars and Neptune have been in a square in this conversation for a little while, Mars is retrograde in Gemini. So there is an issue that kind of comes back up because you have to sort of learn something that you didn't maybe pay attention to. Now, where is this happening for you guys, right? Mars in Gemini for you is in your second house of money. So you may be realizing right now between your money and the groups that you're a part of that there's someone here that is not letting go or kind of is holding on to a part about you that they feel they have to, either they're trying to apologize for something or they're trying to come back into the picture because they're just clinging on. Some kind of situation like this could come up. For many of you, I feel like this might be the scenario. The other thing here is that you may have to kind of reflect upon someone who is mimicking what it is that you're doing, or they're trying to be like you, or there's some kind of level of they're trying to kind of do what it is that you're doing, or they've taken some of what you created, money, assets, and they've taken it for themselves, and you thought they were moving on, but they kind of come back into picture, and they come through group dynamics right now. They come through that. And there's something to learn here because about intentions that become twisted and how to actually protect yourself. This is really huge. Protection is going to be huge here. And you realizing where you need to pull your energy back and how to really practice patience with yourself and not go down the rabbit hole of doubt. This is going to be really worth paying attention to during this time. Let's move on from here into another really beautiful energy that is going to start to unfold towards the end of the month. And it is from the 19th until the 30th. I kind of put a longer range of date here there because Venus and Mercury are going to be conjunct several days on several different degrees, but really they're climbing together until they start to separate from 4 to 20 degrees. Where is this happening? This is going to be eighth house. The eighth house is intimacy, it is sex, it is everything that has to do with the way in which you intimately maybe even share yourself with somebody else, all of your secrets, how you're really relating to another person, and maybe even commitments or shared resources that you have with somebody else, money that you're sharing with someone else, that level of deep commitment to another person. So there is a new conversation that is unfolding here. And what is this about? Well, it's about compassion. It's about you being able to express compassion on a whole nother level. There's a change that is occurring at this time. And this change has to do with important conversations that come up that you might be initiating at this time, where you are saying to yourself, I need to maybe even negotiate about any things I just mentioned in a new way, or the conversations start to beautifully turn in a new direction. What do you actually feel? And these are the types of things that might motivate you to continue to talk or continue to open yourself up in a new way. And as a result, there is a better outcome. Now, for many of you, this will also be a better outcome when it comes to finances, because some kind of finances tie into the story. And what's also beautiful in the midst of all of that is that we are going to have the Sun Jupiter conjunction exact at 28. And so for you, this is going to be all about future growth with partners, future growth with people that you have a bond to. It could be someone absolutely brand new, or it could be something that impacts you in such a good financial way. And there is a new vision and a new idea and a new strategy plan that is born out of it. And it's a really good time. It kind of, promises to meet your needs at a level that you had not been able to maybe live out before, or somehow your trust was broken through the past, and so now you're bouncing back, and there is a new level of endurance that starts to come out of this situation. And I love that for you guys. I really think that this is going to be a very good time for you to put your eye onto a new goal, or a goal that needs to expand, and think a little bit bigger. And it's not only going to benefit you now, also for the long run, including financially, which is huge. Now, before I move on to the last couple of degrees that we're going to be discussing, I want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Alan Sky. I'm an astrologer and numerologist. I focus heavily on forecasting. I love using the astrology for that, for the immediate future, taking a look at how we can prepare for the upcoming energies, how we can be more in a relationship with what the stars are intending for us at this time, and what the conversation needs to be about, so that we are a bit more aware and we can kind of plan. Not that we can figure everything out, because I don't think that the astrology is meant to be used that way, but we can certainly set an intention by taking a look at some of the themes that are coming up. And that's what I focus on here. So if you love this kind of use for astrology, if you find this beneficial, then I would love for you to hang out with me, become part of the Uprise podcast family, ring the bell, subscribe to my channel, but be sure to ring the bell, because when you do, it notifies you every time I'm live, every time I'm here. All right, let's move on to the last week of November, November 22nd and 23rd. Another big thing is happening. Jupiter is finally moving direct. Jupiter is going to be moving direct at 28 degrees. And for you, this is now going to start to expand the horizon within your social reputation, your friends. It looks like many of you are going to start to really take off with some new goals for the long term as well. And this is a really nice energy, because there is some forward movement now that is happening, especially if you've been trying to work things out amongst groups. There is now a forward movement. There's an expansion now that's happening. You don't have to think so hard about how you want to expand. It's just going to start to naturally happen. And then we're moving into Sagittarius season. So a lot of the focus and the shift is going to start to happen here for you to start to work more on your inner psychology, your inner depth, everything that has to do with commitment levels and the stuff we just discussed in regards to your commitment to somebody else. A lot of focus here that is going to start to expand, moving you into December, which is really, really nice. Now, from here, November 22nd through the 30th, Another really beautiful and very supportive energy is going to be Mars in your second house is going to trine Saturn in your career house. So money and career are going to start to move forward in a way where you're ready to get up and get going again. This is the endurance level that starts to kick in. This is the bouncing back that starts to kick in here. And you're feeling more responsible. You feel like you are ready to make another move. But this move that you're making is on the level of you feeling like, okay, this is the smartest way for me to move forward. It's not just any kind of action that you're taking. During this time, you're really working out how to be smarter about your money, be smarter about assets, or some level of money issue or productivity issue that you're working on. But then it also makes your career grow as a result of it, and it makes your career actually better. Something about things that you're working out in your career, it becomes better here, based on the way in which you're shifting your perspective during this time. And more you will find out as you're living this out, right? You will actually start to get the benefits of this Mars retrograde during this time, of what to focus on, how to focus on it, and some very important details on how to maybe even make more money. This is going to be really good. Now, there's a little bit of a hiccup and a challenge that you're running into, and that is November 29th. Mercury is now going to be in the house of, secrecy, in the house where there is a lot of conversation that is happening behind closed doors, in an opposition with Mars at 19 in your second house. Now, what is this all about? This is going to be about you having an important sort of moment where there might be a difficulty or a challenge that comes up, and you have to work out the project, you have to work out the papers or some negotiated terms that don't work. Okay, there's something off about it. There could be an angry sort of energy behind this. It involves you, it involves money, it involves somebody else, or someone that had an impact on your finances. And so now you are kind of challenged right here. Your beliefs might be challenged around this. But overall, I feel like the action that you're trying to take, 19 degrees, it's an action number. It's a, we are going to get up and make this thing happen degree. Okay. That's the numerology of 19. So whatever you're running into, there is going to be either a difficulty, a delay, or something that you need to think about again. And you need to maybe negotiate the terms, whether that's with yourself or whether that is with some kind of paperwork that's involved in this as well. So whatever you're running into, it's an important moment for you to pay attention to make sure that things are working in your favor and that they're protecting you, because it's about protection between these two houses. And so I want to just leave you with that and say that don't take everything personal as well, because whatever is being worked out here, just take a mental note of it and move forward, because anything that you're paying attention to, it's only going to be about a 24-hour kind of energy where it's intense. Just move forward quickly and as, with much velocity as possible. So that's what I'm seeing here for all of my Taurus friends. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it up until here, wonderful. Come back, use the dates to kind of see what's coming up for you guys. I hope that you got a lot out of it. And I want to know, do you have any predictions? What is it that you're, experiencing right now? Leave me a comment below and let me know how things are unfolding for you. I always love hearing from you guys. And I'm going to see you in the next episode, in the next horoscope. Bye.